Welcome to Karen's place, the space she uses to innovate. She'll make sure you're left thinking, I could do the same thing. Karen says, just do it. There ain't nothing to it. Just do it.
Welcome back. It's week 15 for mixed media artist Karen Eastland, and we're going to be discussing her week 15 creative journal.
Yeah, and this week is, well, it's pretty packed.
It really is. We're taking a deep dive into how Karen's balancing, that really detailed literary editing with a super vibrant, diverse musical output.
And importantly, how her partnership with AI fits into all of that. It's quite a mix.
Absolutely. And I think for our listeners, this week's journal gives some really fascinating insights into keeping that creative control while, exploring all these different artistic paths.
What really jumps out right away is just the sheer variety of what Karen tackled in just 1 week.
Right.
You've got her deep in the edits for her Josephine Marlin trilogy, then releasing music that's like all over the map genre-wise.
Yeah.
And then she even starts laying the groundwork for a completely new concept album.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder how one artist manages all these different creative streams.
Totally. So let's start with that literary focus then. On Monday and Tuesday, that was April 7th and 8th, Karen was all in on editing the first book of the Josephine Marlin trilogy.
Right, but it wasn't just her alone in a room, was it? She was collaborating with Soul.
Her name for ChatGPT.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And this is, I think, a really key point for listeners. Her collaboration with AI, especially in her writing, it isn't about handing over the reins, creatively speaking.
Okay.
For the Josephine Marlin trilogy, her work with Soul was really focused on refining the tone, making sure it hits just right.
Getting that feel consistent.
Yeah, and smoothing out the narrative flow, so you just get lost in the story. Checking continuity, too.
And also enhancing the character nuances in the dialogue, which sounds pretty specific.
It is. But, crucially, the journal notes, she maintains complete control over the actual dialogue. The words the characters speak are hers. Soul helps polish.
Gotcha. So it's more like having a really advanced editorial assistant. A second pair of eyes to help elevate the work.
Precisely. Karen herself describes it as a partnership that helps her sort of reimagine the book into something even stronger.
Mm-hmm.
She really emphasizes the emotional impact. And she mentions this trilogy is super personal for her, like born from her own experiences with pain, hope, and wonder.
That definitely makes the editing about more than just commas and plot holes, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
By honing in on that emotional resonance, she's aiming for a story that really connects with readers on a much deeper level, tapping into those shared human feelings.
So what did that look like in practice? The journal mentioned tightening dialogue.
Yeah, tightening dialogue, making every line count, reveal character, that kind of thing. And weaving in those subtle character traits through how they talk, their word choices.
Making it feel real.
Exactly.
Right.
Real and impactful.
And it wasn't just line-by-line stuff either. Sounds like they were looking at the bigger picture, too.
For sure. Things like character arcs, how people change over the story and the overall pacing, keeping the reader hooked. It's a really meticulous process.
Sounds like it.
It really is. And what's insightful here, I think, is how she treats AI, not as a replacement writer, but like a sounding board, almost like a trusted human editor.
Right.
It really shows how tech can, augment creativity, not necessarily diminish it, especially when the artist keeps that firm grip on core things like dialogue.
Okay, now get ready for a complete gear shift here.
Oh.
Because on Wednesday, April 9th, after all that intense literary work, Karen released Paths of Mist and Moonlight.
From her Songs for the Goddess album, right? Talk about a contrast.
Seriously, it just shows the incredible breadth of her artistic range, doesn't it?
It really does. And this track, it's described as gentle, mystical, aiming for this quiet beauty.
Evoking moonlight, whispers, magic, that sort of vibe.
Yeah, it sounds like it's designed purely to create a calm atmosphere, something for unwinding, dreaming maybe.
And it sounds like it worked for listeners too. She noted getting positive feedback about that calming effect.
Mm-hmm. She said that feedback meant everything, which really underlines how music can hit us emotionally,
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so that was Wednesday. Then just one day later, Thursday, April 10th, 2 more releases.
2 more. And talk about different ends of the spectrum again. Wildly different.
Okay, what's first?
First up, Coalition Confusion. A rowdy Aussie political jig.
Uh-huh. Okay, the title alone tells you this isn't mystical Moonlight music.
Not even close. This sounds like exactly what she says it is.
Yeah.
Cheeky, loud, very ironic political satire.
In that classic pub folk style.
Yep. So this is Karen engaging with current events, but through music and, well, humor.
Using satire, what kind of themes did she mention?
The journal points to some specifics like ghost stories about the Greens Party and these clingy coalition metaphors. Kind of paints a picture.
A vivid, probably funny picture of the political scene as she sees it. But wow, that rapid shift between genres.
It's fascinating, right? It gives you this insight into how one artist can channel completely different feelings and themes, sometimes day to day. Makes you think about exploring different sides of your own work, maybe.
For sure. Okay, so that was the jig. What was the second release on Thursday?
The second one was While I Was Sleeping, I Was Waking by her AI grunge rock band, Cassidy and the Castoffs.
Okay, AI grunge rock, that's another whole sonic world again.
Totally different. This one's described as raw, dark, deeply personal, a grunge rock powerhouse, basically.
What are the themes here? Not political jigs, I'm guessing.
No, definitely not. It's about awakening, rebellion, reclaiming personal power, that sort of thing.
More intense.
Very intense. It's presented as a hard rock grunge anthem, but with this core message of resilience and what she calls feminine fire.
And there's a music video for this one too, right? She included the link.
Yep. And the journal mentions themes in the video like struggle and rebirth, which definitely fits that raw grunge sound.
Okay. And it has a spoken intro.
Yeah, it starts with, ancient wisdom, modern world, you had one job.
Ooh, intriguing. That definitely sets a tone.
It really does. Grabs your attention. And the lyrics themselves sound pretty layered, too. References to mortal memes, beauty queens, and even the goddess Athena.
Athena. Okay, so mixing modern stuff with mythology.
Exactly. It's this really unexpected kind of cool blend of like contemporary life and these timeless myths. And that actually starts to hint at where she's heading next.
Ah, the perfect segue. Because that brings us to Friday, April 11th. What happened then?
That's when Karen started work on a brand new concept album. Get this. Songs of the Trilogy, Josephine Marlin.
Whoa. So connecting the music directly back to the book series she was just editing.
Precisely. You see those literary and musical worlds properly starting to merge here very deliberately.
That's cool. What's the concept?
The idea is to fuse the ancient mythology that she's already reimagined in the Josephine Marlin books.
Right.
With a really modern, almost kind of cheeky sass and a strong grunge sound.
Myth meets grunge. That's unexpected.
Bold and intriguing, isn't it? Yeah. The first track is called Athena's Eye Roll, and it's set to drop mid-May.
Athena's Eye Roll. Okay, I love that title already. It tells you a lot.
Doesn't it? The whole vibe is described as epic goddesses, eye rolls at humanity, and heavy riffs.
That sounds amazing, honestly. Like a lot of fun, but with substance.
Yeah, and she mentions it comes after a tough year for her medically, so this feels like this real burst of energy and like mischievous creativity. She talks about feeling mischievous, mythic, and musically lit up.
You can almost feel that energy in the description.
Totally. And that title, Athena's Eye Roll, it just perfectly captures the tone. Ancient power meets modern exasperation.
Did she give any hints about the lyrics for that one?
She did. Some sneak peeks. Athena taking back her temple, turning prophecies into receipts.
Receipts. That's brilliant.
Isn't it? Such a great image. And basically, her disappointment with humanity leading her to essentially ghost us.
Wow. Okay, that's a really clever way to bridge ancient myths and modern feelings, especially wrapped in grunge. I'm definitely curious to hear that project.
Me too. It just highlights her ability to pull inspiration from all over the place and mash it up into something totally unique.
Which brings us back around nicely to her perspective on using AI in all this creativity.
All right. So, as we talked about with the Josephine Marlin trilogy, she partners with Soul, with ChatGPT, for refining things. Tone, flow, character nuance in dialogue.
Well, and this is the crucial part we need to emphasize for listeners.
Exactly. It's so important, and her journal is clear. She maintains complete control over the actual dialogue, the core words her characters say. Those come directly from her. AI polishes, it doesn't write the core.
That distinction is absolutely key to understanding how she works. She's not like farming out her characters' voices. She's using a tool to make her own voice clearer, more impactful for the reader.
Precisely. And that same principle carries over into her music, too.
Okay, how so?
For Cassidy and the Castoffs, the AI grunge band, she specifically states she writes all her own lyrics.
Right. So the words, the message, the heart of the songs, that's all Karen.
100%. So maybe AI helps with some musical aspects. The journal isn't super specific there, but the lyrics are hers. This whole week, her journal entries really paint this picture of a very nuanced way of using AI.
As a collaborator, a tool.
Yeah, the tool for refinement, for exploration, but always keeping that core artistic control, especially in those key areas like what people say and what the songs are about.
It's a really interesting balance. We also get a glimpse into the specific AI tools and updates that caught her eye this week. She listed quite a few.
Yeah, a whole list. Whisk, Video FX,
Mm,
Suno, which had a new creator layout update she noted.
okay.
Also, Enneagram AI version 3.0, Gemini version 2.50, Kling AI, Krea AI, and NotebookLM. It's quite the toolkit.
It is, and it covers different things, right? Suno for music, ideogram for visuals.
Exactly. Tools like Suno help generate music. Ideogram AI is more about creating images. It just shows she's really engaging across different AI-powered creative platforms. Visuals, audio, maybe even video with Kling AI I mentioned.
She's clearly exploring what's out there.
Definitely. And keeping an eye on developments, too. She noted the Google Cloud Next 25 highlights recap, even put in a link.
And the main takeaway there was
That a lot of the access, the majority access to Google Cloud 25 will be free, which is pretty typical for Google.
yeah, but that accessibility is huge, isn't it, for making these powerful tools available to more creators?
Oh, absolutely. Lowering that barrier to entry means more artists can experiment, see how these things might fit into their own process, you know.
Makes sense. And lastly, on the AI front, she mentioned seeing regular tweaks and updates to Google's NotebookLM.
Yeah, just observing that it's constantly evolving, which just highlights how fast this whole AI landscape is moving. Always improving, always new features popping up.
So for creators like Karen, it means constantly learning and adapting, right? Seeing how the latest stuff might help her work.
That's got to be part of the process now, yeah. Staying
Yeah.
on top of it.
So for anyone listening who's found this deep dive into Karen's week as fascinating as we have.
Probably everyone.
Haha, right. And wants to explore her work more, she gave a really good list of her online spots.
Yeah, it's pretty comprehensive. Her main portfolio site, plus dedicated sites for Josephine Marlin, Gerrymanders, Reachville Community News.
Fields of Elysian, The Alternatives, and her writing site, My Writerly Self. Loads to explore.
It really gives you a chance to dive into all the different corners of her creative universe. See the full scope.
And she's on YouTube too, right?
Yep, channels for My Writerly Self, the writing side, and a dedicated music channel just under her name, Karen Eastland. All those links are available if people want to check it all out firsthand.
Great. So, wrapping up this week's deep dive into Karen Eastland's creative journal. Wow, it really shows a super dynamic, multifaceted artist at work.
Totally. Someone who clearly embraces trying new things, integrating new tech like AI.
But always with a really clear, strong artistic vision guiding it all.
Exactly. You go from that super detailed, careful work, refining her trilogy, making sure every word, every bit of dialogue lands.
Right, the words she wrote.
The words she wrote. Then the just raw energy of her music releases the mystical stuff, the political jig, the grunge.
And that exciting new concept album brewing, mixing myth and grunge.
Yeah, her whole week is just this powerful example of being committed to both exploring creatively and expressing something deeply personal, and always keeping her own unique voice front and center.
And maybe for listeners, the really compelling thing to think about is how she uses AI. Strategically bringing it in as this supportive tool, but making absolutely sure she stays firmly in the driver's seat for those core creative bits. The dialogue her characters speak, the lyrics she writes for her songs.
That careful balance. What does that suggest maybe about how this relationship between artists and AI is evolving? It's clearly still changing, unfolding.
Yeah, and Karen's approach offers a really practical, insightful look at one way it can work. Definitely something to mull over.
Thanks for stopping